Okay, so today we're going to be talking about The Witcher 3 photo mode that came out 2 whole years ago. I swear I was scheduled to make a video about this mere months after its release, but alas, life happens and other things come up. So instead of dedicating this video entirely to the photo mode, which you've either undoubtedly already learned about or used, I want to simply talk about The Witcher in its totality and how special this game is to me and many others. And before I go further, I just want to say at the top of the video, since a lot of people don't always make it to the end, if you like this video and want more, consider subscribing. I would love to be doing more content like this full time. And if you don't like this video, please slap that thumbs down button so I know. Okay, let's go. I feel like I've been really lucky to grow up with The Witcher in a way that's unlike many other forms of media, and I recall moments with The Witcher stories that still feel so clear in my mind. For example, I specifically remember the day I decided to buy The Witcher 3. I'd not heard of this franchise before, and then I saw a pre-release screenshot in a magazine. There wasn't anything particularly special about this image either. It's simply the protagonist in the foreground with some thatched village homes in the distance. But something grabbed me. Now, I'll do my best to try and dissect why this hooked me. So first off, the overall color palette and aesthetic is quite reminiscent of Skyrim. Not too saturated, and a general gloomy feeling is written all over this. Skyrim was the first RPG I ever played, and it still remains one of my favorite games of all time. And since 2011, I was certainly looking for the next big fantasy game to scratch that itch. I'm also a sucker for that kind of forested village aesthetic that Witcher contains so much of, but I think there was something even more going on, and that was the Witcher himself. I honestly didn't even think of this until writing for this video, but what really drew me into this image were those two swords on his back. Why does he need two swords? And why do I think it's so undeniably badass? Well, I think I actually figured it out. What other character from my childhood has long, light-colored hair and also carries two blades on his back? That's right, it's the one and only Legolas of the Woodland freaking Realm. Forget about taking the hobbits to Isengard. I was taking my $67.89 paycheck to GameStop to pre-order The Witcher 3 right then and there. And I did. And I recall picking up the game on opening night, when those were still a thing. And even from the moment I opened the box, it felt special. A letter from the devs? No insert advertising the next thing they want me to buy? No. Just a heartwarming thanks, some stickers, a full map of the game, and a freaking CD with the score. I was blown away. And then I played it. If you're a gamer, you know what I'm talking about when certain games give you an almost spiritual feeling. There are a few games like that for me, and The Witcher 3 was one of them. It's indescribable, but you know it when you know it. Something just clicks. That feeling of the open world, the detail, the acting, and my immediate attachment to the characters. I am, of course, Team Yennefer, but I also fell deeply in love with The Witcher himself. I went so far as to start reading the book series, and I just recently upgraded my collection to this beautiful hardback from Orbit that don't include those disgusting Netflix stickers, I might add. Thank you, Orbit. Between The Witcher 3 and it leading me to the books, I also took note of how different Geralt was compared to other fantasy protagonists, and his ideologies and innate sense of morality resonated with me. I'm certain Geralt influenced who I am today as a person. Geralt has this unyielding and quite uncommon respect for decency, others' choices, and the people around him, especially for a male protagonist. And I want to read one of my favorite quotes from the first book. People like to invent monsters and monstrosities. Then they seem less monstrous themselves. When they get blind drunk, cheat, steal, beat their wives, starve an old woman, when they kill a trapped fox with an axe, or riddle the last existing unicorn with arrows, they like to think that the Bane entering cottages at daybreak is more monstrous than they are. They feel better then. They find it easier to live. This, to me, is the thesis statement of the entire franchise. Geralt is a monster slayer, but even he knows the word monster can take on many different meanings. And although he's technically bound to a Witcher's creed, he often breaks these rules in favor of helping the little folk, or protecting good from evil. Unlike many other fantasy characters who are chasing some nebulous glory, Geralt lets life move through him, and he reacts accordingly. He displays more chivalry, tolerance, and respect for his colleagues than most of the noble characters in the series. His admiration of Yennefer is also something I don't see that often in fantasy protagonists, and it feels like a good balance. Geralt, of course, is highly attracted to Yennefer, and he doesn't hide that, but unlike most fantasy men, he also has this undying respect for her knowledge and experience. Do they argue? Yeah, but Geralt always listens. Compare him to the many other fantasy characters who regularly have this disdain for the opinions of women. Geralt is truly a man to be admired in that regard. As of lately, The Witcher has been kind of in a weird place. The Netflix show is pretty awful and has diverted so far from the books that I'm not even sure you can call it The Witcher anymore. However, in recent news, the author announced that a new Witcher book, akin to the first two, which are more collections of short stories following Geralt, will be released in English in 2025. This is huge and has me super excited for more stories in this world. Then there's this Witcher 4 game that will feature a new protagonist. I'm really excited to see where they go with that, but I hope we don't have another Cyberpunk 2077 on our hands. I know the rest of the gaming world has simply forgotten about that disastrous launch, but I never will, and CD Projekt Red had lost a lot of trust from me with that. Still, I have faith it'll be good. And hey, while I'm at it, the photo mode is a great addition. Although it's not amazing and has some annoying issues like depth of field not working great and displaying these weird bright edges, it's good to have some camera range, and honestly, it's just nice to capture the beauty of this world. Even all these years later, the game is a wonder to look at, and I have taken so many photos, it isn't even funny. Well, what about you? Do you have any special memories with the Witcher franchise? Are you excited for the next book or game? I'd love to hear it. Until next time.